Hey, this is Melody from the Seed of Life Alternative Health Collective, and today we thought we would introduce you to the 5 elements of Ayurveda and the fundamentals of the elemental energies. So from an Ayurvedic perspective, there are 5 observable energies, and it's how the whole science is put together. So if you're going to understand anything about Ayurveda and the doshas, then I feel it's the most important for you to be acquainted with the 5 energies. So energy number 1 is fire. Fire is the transformative energy. So it can be intense, it can be hot. Think of a fire. It can be in a spectrum from a warm, cozy, like sit by the fire, to a forest fire of destruction. So this is the force that changes one state to the next. So think of alchemy or transmutation when you're transferring like wood into ash, for instance. The next element is air. So air is going to be your formless element. This is the element of movement. So when you think of air, you might think of wind, or you might think of a breeze, or you could think of a hurricane. So this direction force, it's always going to have a direction, but you don't necessarily see where it's coming from. So it has no form. The next element that actually goes really nice with that one is space. A lot of people get confused with air and space because they are in one of the movement forces called the doshas. But space is also formless, but yet it's defined by what things are around it. So space is really what is in between other elements, right? You can put boundaries on space, but you can't see where it starts and where it's ending outside of those elements. So space is the foundation for every part of existence. Every movement, everything starts in space. The next element is earth. So if you think about earth, it's steady, it's strong, it's consistent. It can be as small as a tiny pebble, and it can be as strong as a mountain. It can also turn into an avalanche or quicksand. So the thing about earth is that if you think about space as in between, earth would be those consistent pieces on either side, and fire would be what changes earth into something else, maybe into a gaseous form like air. The last element, which is one of the most fundamentals, is water. As you know, on this planet, it's really important, but the element of water really represents mobility. So changeability, but in a way that supports what it moves around. Where air can change and it doesn't need any, like if something gets in its way, it'll stop, but water will always move around things. So without these 5 elements, existence would not be able to function as we know it. These 5 elements were observed from early man, and they were categorized by this looks like that, this looks like this looks like this, all based off of nature. And we found through Ayurvedic science that these 5 elements can be applied to anything from the exterior world, to your physical anatomy, to your mental state, to your relationships, and even to how your soul interacts in this physical realm. So from an Ayurvedic standpoint, myself, I teach these elements first, and then we talk about the doshic science, which are really the combination of certain elements, and then we move into how can you identify these things in your world, and how can you actually use the elements to shape your own existence, because these are the most fundamental pieces of existence that make life possible. So if you'd like to know more, we have a couple different classes, starting with Ayurveda 101 and the Seed of Life Collective at www.seedoflifecollective.com.